Hi, reading friends. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, and this is our last day that we will be meeting and talking about context clues. Tomorrow, you will be taking an assessment to see if you can figure out the meaning of unknown words by using the context clues that are in the sentence. So practicing just what we have been doing all week. To activate your schema, I have included in your list of things to do on your Google Classroom. You will see a context clues video to activate your schema. You can pull that up at any time if you want to pause now and pull that up to watch it ahead of time, or if you want to go ahead and finish the video and go back and watch that before you do your independent practice. That's up to you. Today, our learning target says I can use context clues in a text, so I can determine the meaning of unknown words or phrases in a text. I will know I have it when I will write the clues from the text and the meaning of the unknown words. And it says, what am I going to do today to be successful? Remember, I have to write those clues from the text, which pretty much means you can write exactly what the sentence says that includes the vocabulary word, and then you can tell me the meaning of the unknown word, just like the graphic organizers that we have been doing, either in our guided practice or our independent practice through the week. Here is a chart or poster that we saw at the beginning of the week. Just a reminder that context clues are those clues in the text that readers use to find the meaning of the unknown word or the meaning of the vocabulary word. Ask yourself, are there any clues in the text to help you figure out the meaning? And then it says use your pictures, surrounding sentences, synonyms, antonyms, examples, or definitions. So today, we're just going to take some time to look at some sentences and try to figure out what is the meaning of the word. You may have some schema already built in to have the meaning of the word, but today we're going to talk about some synonyms. What are those words that mean the same? Remember, synonyms starts with an S. That means it means the same as. So you can come up with words that would fit in the sentence and the sentence still makes sense. Let's take a look. The first one says, Dad will bore a hole in the metal with his tool. Dad will bore a hole. So I know that whatever bore means he's going to make a hole. Okay, he's going to make a hole, but it's going to be in metal. So he can't just make it by himself. He's going to have to use a tool of some kind. What does bore a hole in metal mean? That it's not interesting? That he will drill a hole, or he's going to yawn a hole? Which one of those makes sense? You're correct. It is B, drill. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take drill and I'm going to stick it right in that sentence in place of the word bore. So now it's going to say, Dad will drill a hole in the metal with his tool. Does that make sense? Yes. So today we're going to practice sticking our answer in place of the word to make sure that it makes sense. Here is another sentence. It says, my teacher will fly to the East Coast for winter vacation. Ooh, fly to the East Coast. What does fly mean in this sentence? Is it a small insect? Does it mean move through the air? Or does it mean flap her wings? Which one makes sense? It does mean move through the air. My teacher will move through the air to the East Coast for winter vacation. Now, that still kind of sounds a little silly, but it does sound better than my teacher will flap her wings to the East Coast, because my teacher does not have wings. So sometimes it's a little tricky and you have to just use some of those things that you already know. All right, the next one says, please put the flag back in its stand after we say the Pledge of Allegiance. So what does this stand mean? This stand can have lots of meanings, but what does it mean in this sentence? Okay, so don't get confused about that, because you could see words that you know what it means, but it might have multiple meanings. And so we got to figure out, what does it mean in the sentence? Please put the flag back in its stand after we say the Pledge of Allegiance. So do I put it in a place to sell goods? Like a stand where we sell oranges and apples, like a farmer's stand? Do I put it back in its on 2 feet, stand up? Or do I put it back in a holder? Holder would be your answer. And let me show you why. If I put holder in place of the word, let's see if it makes sense. Please put the flag back in its holder after we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Yes, that makes sense. Let's look at one more. Marla and Thomas sat fishing on the bank of the river. What does bank mean? Again, this is a multiple meaning word. It means that it can have different meanings for different sentences. But this sentence says that they sat fishing on the bank of the river. Is that a place for money? Is it a bridge? Or is it the side or the edge? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick that word up there in place of bank to see if it makes sense. Marla and Thomas sat fishing on the side or edge of the river. Does that make sense? Sure it does. So side or edge would be the answer. Look at what happens when I put a place for money, because that's true. A bank is a place for money. Marla and Thomas sat fishing on the place for money of the river. Does that make sense? They sat on the place for money? No. Okay, so that does not make sense. So make sure you put your word in place of the vocabulary word to see if it makes sense. On your quiz tomorrow, you are going to have a few of these that we just did that you're going to have to do on your quiz. They're going to look actually exactly like this, just with different sentences. You're going to have to read the sentence and then decide which one of those makes sense to you. Today for guided practice, when we get on live, I'm actually going to read a story with you about the animal kingdom, and we are going to work through some questions. One of them is, what does the word vertebrate mean? And what does the word species mean? So we're going to talk about those and how do we find the meanings of those. Not something that you have to do by yourself. We're going to do that live. For your independent practice today, you are going to have a article that you're going to read called Out in Space. And then you are going to answer some questions. What does the word launch mean? And how do you know? Where did you find it? What did it say in the text? What word helped you determine what astronaut means? Was there a word in the text that helped you determine what an astronaut was? Identify a word that you did not know and determine the meaning. So there are several words in here. Pick a word that you are unsure of, type that in. And then what did the sentence say? Or how did you figure out the meaning of the word? So that's what you're going to do for independent practice. And then as a reader today, what did you learn? And today, what did you struggle with? Okay, so I will talk to you soon on live. Go ahead and watch those videos, and you can start working on your independent practice if you want, or you can wait until our live meeting when we go together and we do our guided practice. All right, you guys have a great day, and I will see you soon on our live event.